Chris here. Welcome to Chris's shop. Chris's wood shop slash metal shop slash car showroom. Where today I'm going to be putting a left-handed Harley Benton neck, I think you can read it backwards there, on this right-handed Harley Benton body. And I'm going to show you how to do it. Now you'd think it would be a simple little bolt-on thing. Just bolt it right on there, right? Like that. Anyway, the problem is, you see the holes there? They don't align with these holes here. I bought two Harley Bentons, a lefty and a righty. I'm left-handed. And the lefty's for me, the righty's for a friend of mine, and that's whose guitar I'm working on now. And I was hoping it would be a simple bolt-on, where everything lines up like it came off an assembly line. But of course, no, the holes do not quite line up. So what I've got to do today is fill these holes and then re-drill new holes to line up these holes. Bolt it all back together and hope everything is in good shape. So let's dive into it. I already did it on my guitar, the lefty guitar. Test things out, experiment on your own stuff before you try messing up somebody else's stuff, right? So I'll show you how it works. This is the Harley Benton TE-52, by the way, on the VT series. Fabulous little guitars. People rave about them on the internet. Only other thing I've done to this, well, two things. A new nut. This is a Tusk nut in here. Very easy slip on. I think it's about almost 43 millimeters wide. The neck is 42, so you wind up sanding off just a little of the outer edges there. I put in these snappy compensated brass saddles just to kick it up a notch from the chrome ones that are in there. Two common changes, upgrades to this guitar. It's a cold Chicago shop, by the way. This is why you might hear my space heater running. Take the chill out of the air. Alrighty then, first thing we've got to do here is fill the holes. And to do that, we're going to use some 3/30 seconds dowel. This is poplar dowel. Now, in a real world, hey there, in the real world, oh, you got a banana? Yeah, my wife just brought me breakfast. The first thing we're going to do is fill these holes. To do that, we're going to drill them out and plug it with some dowel. Now, this is a maple neck. In an ideal world, I would use maple dowel to do it, but I don't have any maple dowel, and it's hard to find. And so this is poplar dowel, 79 cents, 3/16 in size, which is the smallest you can buy at your home improvement store. So that's what we're going to plug it with. And I did it on my other guitar, and it worked out beautifully. So that's what we're gonna put in here. Now, I'm going to show you a little trick along the way. But the first thing we need to do is drill out the hole, and we want to drill it to the right depth. So what I did was I used a little awl that I have. You can use a piece of coat hanger or anything, doesn't matter. It's got to be thin enough to go in here all the way and hit bottom. And then what you want to do is kind of use your fingers to get a measure. And I've got this handy little rule that I also use for my setups. And it's about, let's see, 9/16 inch deep. So what I do, and I establish the drill bit I want to use. Now here's the thing too. This is not a 3/16 drill bit. This is one size short of that. What size is that? It's an 11/64 drill bit. Now, Chris, you're saying, how are you going to shove a 3/16 dowel into an 11/64 hole? I'll show you. And the reason I'm doing that is I drilled a 3/16 hole in a piece of scrap wood. I think it's right over here somewhere. No, that's not it. And put the dowel in, and it was sloppy. I don't want that. I want a nice tight fit. So I'm going to show you how to get that fit. So first, we've got the depth, and then I use a piece of masking tape to get the depth on my 11/64 drill bit. It's going to make a little flap so I don't go any deeper than that. But it will just follow this hole. So I'm going to chuck it up. I don't have to do it on my drill press. You can, but because the hole's already there, I'm going to make sure. And this is where you need to practice with your drills, guys and gals. You want to just let it follow that hole. Drill out very gently down to your tape. And that's all it takes. What we're doing is we're kind of drilling out those threads. And drilling the hole down very gently, nice and smooth. Keep it vertical. Don't let it do anything weird. There we go. All right, simple. The hole is now bigger. You notice this won't fit in there though. That's okay. Hello? Go on. Next project, a tripod for my iPhone. I got a ton of camera gear back at my office, but I'm not at my office. Anyway, all right, simple. We've drilled them out. We'll clean them off when we put the dowel in. Now, next thing we need, 4 lengths of dowel. Easiest way to do that, an easy way to do it, is actually, you can do it with a saw, but you can just use an X-Acto knife, razor knife. And I want to cut them off 9/16, so we're just going to cut about 3/4 inch lengths. And you just roll. And the fun part is finding out where they fly to. Snap off about 4 of those of a good length, like so. That one stayed right here. Give it a little twist. All right. There we go. 4. Now what we're going to do is we're going to sand the little edges on this round. And I'm going to show you a cool woodworker's trick. Could do it on my belt sander, but you know, then it flies across the room and you got to cut more of them. Just going to use this just to cut the edges off of it, so that it looks a little more like. Oop, there's the camera over there. A little more like. Oh, it's blurry. There you go. A little more like that. You know, we just want to get a little bit of these up. Next thing I've done is I've got a piece of steel. This is about 1/8 inch thick steel. Any kind of scrap angle iron, anything metal, anything hard. And I drilled that same 11/64 hole in there. And I'm now going to drive this 3/16 inch dowel, sand it in first, into this hole. Kind of wedge it in. Wedge it in. And I've got a little mallet to do that with. That's what's going to happen. Off screen, I actually hit it with my grinding wheel to get a little bit more of a point on it. Now, put that in there. Get a decent little hammer here. Gonna put it in that hole. That's what we're gonna do. Gonna drive it through. You see what it's doing? It's actually shaping this dowel down to the exact size of the hole we just drilled. There it is. And now this will fit perfectly, like a glove, into the hole I drilled in the back of the neck. Counter it. Beautiful. Next step, guys, gals, everybody. We're going to glue these in. Now you can use white glue or any kind of carpenter's glue. I am going to use some gelatinous super glue that I've got here. The reason being, I think that super glue, at least from some of the things I've heard and seen, can tend to sort of harden up the wood a bit. Where's my glasses? Can't see what I'm doing. And it's also fast, so we can keep our procedure going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up the edge with this gel-like. You can use the brush-on stuff too if you've got them. Of course, the thing with super glue is it coming out? Or is my bottle clog? There it is. All right. Nice little drip on there where we're going to rub it in around the outer edge so it's nicely coated. And then what I like to do is I like to put a nice dab right on the bottom that's going to go into the hole to fill that in. All right. And then I'm going to use kind of a little bit of a softer mallet to tap this in, just drive it home. That's it, right there. Yes, it's protruding. That's okay. We're going to take care of that. 3 more. Super glue, dab on the end to fill the bottom of the hole. Set her in there. Red end, green end. I wonder what the difference is. One's softer than the other. I can't tell which is which though. Next, fancy but dirty Japanese saw. I like these because they have real fine teeth and they're flat on one side so that they don't cut into the wood. And it's real good for just gently coming across here and taking off the worst of the excess dowel. Very gentle, careful. You're not cutting anywhere. You don't see any marks. Don't want to do it. If I was real cautious, if I was working on a vintage guitar and not a Harley Benton, I might put some tape down or something for some protection. But I did this on my other one and I didn't have any problems. So let's hope I don't have any problems on my friend's guitar here. But I don't think I will. Even though this is the back of the neck and you don't see it. You know? Now, all right, we've got it. I mean, it's still sticking up by, 32nd of an inch or something like that. I could have tried cutting it tighter. But what I like to use to get it real close, you can use a chisel. I'm fairly good at sharpening chisels. You see that's got a decent shine on it. However, to get it really razor-like, I'm not that good. And I want it really razor-like. This is razor-like. This is an X-Acto blade with a square edge on it. I've never used one of these before. Never knew why you would use it when you're building like a car model or something like that. I always use those angled blades, like that one. But this combined with a utility knife blade as a scraper does a great job getting in here to remove. We're overexposed here. There we go. Now you can to come in here and just first I want to kind of just saw the XX off and keep the knife blade clean from that super glue because the super glue gel is still there. But see how I'm peeling that off? Let's bring this in real close so you can see that in action. Wait a minute. Yeah, there we go. All right, now does that work? Okay. Be careful with your fingers. See how that shaves that off really nicely. We're still not all the way down yet. Being real careful only to take the dowel with these. And some of that excess glue too. And now if I come in here, I got too many tools around here. There we go. Now if I come in here with my utility knife, no, excuse me, my X-Acto, and I can really, look at that. Look how that peels that off. Like there's no way I could sharpen a chisel as sharp as that. And yet it's still high. I'm coming to come at it from the other side. Gently, carefully. Then I don't want to gouge in with any corners. Take your time with this part of it because you want it to look nice and fit flush. And then run your fingers over it. If you still feel a little bit of a high spot, you know you still got some dowel there. Yeah. Can you sand this? You could, but I don't want to risk gouging the back of this neck and changing the height of it. It was perfect from the factory, and I want to keep it perfect. All right. There's our holes. Filled, smooth, flush. Super glued in. Now, we've got to get it lined up with the holes here. How are we going to do that? That's the next magical step. Well, I've got the old HB TE-52 NA for natural chucked up in a workmate here, padded by a towel. It's fairly stable, but I want to be careful with it here. And I put the neck back in position. Now, the first thing I noticed here when I did that is there is, with the pick guard on, there is pretty much no room for play with this thing. I mean, it doesn't, well, there's a little bit. There's just enough to make me think, I don't want to assume that I can just screw it into place as it is. So what I like to do is I like to get a couple of guitar strings, the high E and the low E, string them in here temporarily just to make sure that everything looks aligned. These are Alright, we look good on the saddles, of course, and we come up here and we see we're in the nut. But what I want to do is, where are we when we come down here? Are we pretty much even on either side? And we are. That is just dead on perfect. All right, next, to mark the location for our new holes. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to drive gently the neck screws in to the back of the guitar. So very carefully. There. And I'm going to, I think when I did this before, I was able to leave them all in position. So I'm going to put this on and not take it back off. These holes in the back of the Harley Benton are threaded. They're not big enough for the screw to just slip into. They thread in there. And I don't know if that's the way most guitars are or not. I haven't taken enough necks off to know whether this should just slide in there. But I didn't want to drill this out. I'm just going to leave it as is. So I'm screwing these in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run them in until they bump the neck. And this neck is fitting pretty tight right here, but if it wasn't, I would be using this to hold this in place. Definitely don't want it to fall out, drop on my hard concrete floor or anything like that. But what I'm doing is I'm just going to thread these in till it touches, and then just gently holding the neck in place, making sure nothing slips. I'm just going to go until it touches, pushes against the neck and leaves a mark. I'm hoping the point of the screw, the goal is the point of the screw leaves a mark. Now I'm going to take the neck out and let's see if we accomplished our goal. It is a nice tight fit. Part of this is the pick guard though. And hot diggity, look at here. You see the 4 dents. So you see how far off the alignment was, but you also see I'm not driving the new screws or drilling new holes into virgin maple. It's a combination of maple and this dowel. So that's why it's important that's there. I have good indents. I can use my awl just to make sure that they're nice and fairly deep and centered and ready to go for a drill bit. And the next thing I'll do is I will chuck up. This is where I do use my drill press, because the last thing you want is for your drill bit to wander, get out of line, or do anything wanky. So I'll show you my drill press setup next. All right, everybody, what I've got here is your basic drill press vise. I have padded the bottom and the sides of the neck with some hardboard and some cardboard. Don't want metal to wood touching here. All right. Now, what I have is a 9/64 drill bit, which is the size I determined. I did a test fit with this drill bit, and I tried some others. Always do a test fit. I drilled a hole in a piece of scrap, and I ran one of the neck screws into it to see how did it fit. Was it good, too tight, too loose? 9/64 worked out beautifully. Your results may vary. So now I'm set up. I have a piece of tape at that same 9/16 depth that I had for the when I drilled the dowel hole, because I know that's a good depth for where I am with this. I've made sure, in fact, I'm going to double check that the neck is nice and level all the way around. Don't just bottom it out in the clamp, because the fret surface, of course, it's you know, curved to the shape of the neck, and it may also slant a little bit. You want to make sure that this surface, the back of the surface, is completely level, parallel, plumb, all those carpentry measurements. And we are, and we're pretty tight. The next step is to turn it on. Very carefully center this under my mark, get it centered, and then nice and slowly let the drill do the work. Come right down to my tape depth. There we go. Right? Look. That's my trap. It's the rope. Just careful. That's good. You get it. There we are. 4 nice holes off center from the original spot. Now you still see a little bit of schmutz on there, but that's okay. Again, it's going to be hid. Do want to make sure it's flush. I might run just a tiniest bit of real fine sandpaper across there to make sure we're super smooth. I invested in a set of these micro surface finishing pads. Great for fret polishing and real fine sanding work. The most coarse one here is a 1500, goes all the way up to 12,000, which is technically as smooth as a baby's bottom, but who has a baby handy to polish your frets, right? There's our neck ready to go. We're ready to pop her back in position here. Wait a minute, next step. One more thing we want to do here. One of my screws, and I'm gonna take a candle, any kind of wax that you have, soap, something to lubricate. I'm gonna rub the threads in here, get some on there, and I am going to pre-thread into here using my little Milwaukee, very slowly, very gently. Got my clutch too light there. Just to make sure we're going to go in good. There we go. Filled, drilled, threaded. And one other thing I'm going to do on this neck, this is a lefty neck. I feel pretty good with it here. And I've got fret markers on the lefty side, but my buddy is going to be fret marker-less here, and that's no good. So before I ship it all back to him, I'm going to put new fret markers in this side of the neck. I'll try to show you that in another video. All right, here we are, the moment of truth. Let's drop this in. Push her home. I'm just going to go real cautiously and use my hand drill. Oh, look at that. It's got somewhere to go. This is my hand drill. Some people call it a screwdriver. Apparently I don't. Look at that. Look at that. So far, so good. You gotta love it. And it's going right in, too. No problem. Everything's aligned nicely. Oh, that feels good. And I'm confident because I checked with the strings that that the neck is aligned as well. Snug. And just like that, we've got a righty telly copy with a lefty neck on it. I'll string it up. I'll make sure everything's aligned. The interesting thing about this style of bridge is you can actually slide the string left or right on it once it's on there to do any fine tuning of your string placement, but it didn't look like we needed to do it. These are new saddles here, so I do have to intonate it. Haven't done that yet. But there you go, boys and gals. How to put a lefty neck on a righty guitar. And interestingly, it works the other way too. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.